This video, we're going back to an old challenge, well, the solution for that challenge program to see how we had this kind of like cheat that I used before, and we're learning about custom properties. It's unit 4.2 something or other, I think. And we're just going to see how we don't need to use that cheat anymore because of what we're learning today. So in this previous program, the way we had this was, if you don't recall, when I run it, I've got my little dude with the boxing glove, another dude over there, and a label that's just kind of randomly in the middle there. When I click, it will punch the other dude. When I release, we bring our hand back. Click again, punch the dude, release. And the counter's counting up every time. On the second time, so after I've done 2 punches, and the third time I'm going to punch, instead of doing just a regular jab, we wind up, and then we uppercut, knock the person off, switches to KO. And at the time, we said, okay, let's stop there. But if you do keep clicking, you're going to get an error. And whatever, we were fine with that before, right? If I click again, I get an error. And that's because my counter label had switched from 0, 1, or 2, and we switched it to KO when it was over. That's, not actually cool, right? You should never have a program that you're putting out to people for people to use that has an error in it where it'll just break down eventually. You want to prevent having errors. So we're going to fix this error today while we learn about custom properties of objects. So first of all, let's take a look at what we did in our code way back when. In order to count things, so we were just learning ifs. We had multiple if values. And in order to count things, we did this little cheat where you create a global label variable. And instead of some words as the value for the label, we just put a number in there. And then every time we punched, on mouse press, every time we punched, we increased the label's value by 1. And then once the value is equal to 3, we've punched him 3 times, we just did the uppercut, we changed the value to KO. The issue is, though, that next time when I click again, it's going to check, is the count label.value less than 2? The count label.value is now the word KO, or the 2 characters KO, the string KO. And Python's not going to be happy with you comparing a string to a integer. So that's why it throws that error, right? What we're going to look at now is, I guess I can call it count label still just because it already was, but we're going to add a custom property. So for this glove, because the glove is the thing that's doing the hitting, it could be whatever. It could be the enemy's head that's getting hit that you're counting. It's whatever. We're going to add a custom property to this glove. The way you add a custom property is you have to have an object being stored inside of a variable, meaning I needed to have created a variable and it needs to be set equal to some sort of object, a circle or a line or a label or whatever. Just as a little review, by the way, that'll be for the next video, I guess, what I was about to say, but the different things inside of any objects or any figures, parentheses, those are properties of that object. So I'm making a circle object at the coordinates 140, 210. These 2 coordinates are properties of it. It's the ways to describe what that thing is. It has a radius of 15, that's another property, and it has a fill of red. There can be multiple other properties, right? We could add border and border width and all sorts of stuff. You can also create your own custom properties by just saying glove and, whichever one you want, right? I made the object, it needs to be stored in a variable. I can say glove.hits and I'll set it equal to 0. What I just did there was create my own custom property called hits and I set it equal to 0. And we can run this, make sure I'm not doing anything illegal yet. Looking good. So what this has done, I should stop saying let me reset, we're good. What this does is it creates a new property, just like any of these things over here, and it's storing it under hits. Just like how I could reach its center X by saying glove.centerX, or glove.radius. These are built-in properties to a circle, or glove.fill. We just made our brand new own property called hits. We made it here, we set it equal to 0 here, and then in the future, as we do glove.hits, we will be able to check it, right? Glove.hits is currently holding on to 0, or we can edit it by using the assignment operator, that single equal sign. So now we get to get rid of our little hack that we had before with the count label. So I'm going to say, all right, instead of count label.value, I'm going to say if the glove.hits is less than 2. And if the glove.hits, I think I'm going to be doing a lot of glove.hits. So let's copy this, and we'll get rid of all of our count label.value, glove.hits. I wonder if this IDE has it. I bet it does have a find and replace. Ooh. I mean, sure, let's try it out. So I'm going to search for count label, count label dot value, and I'm going to replace it with glove dot hits. I keep learning reasons to love CMU CS Academy. I wasn't sure that this development environment was going to have this feature. It does. That is awesome. So the way this can work, we'll just do a little tutorial on this, is I'm finding, right? The top box said find. The bottom one said replace. I'm finding, just like the Command F or Control F, it finds. Where's the replace? Okay, there it is. You can click on this and it'll give you a find and replace. And so now as I go one by one, it will highlight the different instances of count label.value. And so instead of me having to copy and paste the text every time, I can just say, all right, count label.value. If count label.value is less than 3, I definitely still want to replace that with glove hits. Count label.value plus equals 1, I'm going to replace that with glove hits. I'm going to replace that with glove hits. Let me zoom out a little bit just so we can do this. Where are we at now? Count label.value less than 3. Yeah, I think. And then if you're confident that all this is good, you can just be like, you know what? I'm going to replace all of them with glove hits, and it'll just take care of business. There's one last thing that I'm going to do, and it'll be a little error in this. Do I even want to do that? No, this video is going to be long enough. I'm not even going to make that error. See, this is why you got to be careful with that replace all. This is a very dangerous tool, by the way, this like find and replace all thing. I'm going to change the, this, I want to put it back to count label dot value equals KO. And I even might, every time I increase the glove hits, I'm going to say count label dot value is going to be set equal to glove dot hits. This way, we'll still see that counter going up, but we can keep punching and punching and punching, and we won't have that error. Let's see if I need to re-record this video or if everything's good. Punch, come back. Count label's looking good. Punch, come back. Uppercut, KO. Well, it all worked, and we're not getting errors. I guess I just never reset after the uppercut. So, well, let's add it. Let's add it. This video is not long enough, right? All we need to do here is on mouse release. We don't have an uppercut return. So I'm going to say if glove hits is, if glove hits was less than 3. So I'm going to say if glove hits is greater than or equal to 3, we're going to do the uppercut. And this is the uppercut setup. So this would be if the glove hits is greater than or equal to 2, we'll set up. And this should be actually all we need to do to get this going. Before I was just checking equals equals, so it only happened that one time. And now, because I said greater than or equal to, it's going to do it forever. So let's see. To set up KO, set up KO, set up KO. Hey, all right. We got it working. So that's pretty cool. I guess I am going to put this one last thing in here just because I had this idea for the video. So we're going to do one last thing. Let's say that for whatever reason, I made this tiny little typo error. Instead of doing glove hits plus equals 1, I did minus equals 1. And then I run my program, and I'm like, I keep jabbing forever. What's going on? Well, one thing is maybe you should pay attention to the label there. It looks like your label is, you're counting negative. But just a thing to note, you can, make a label that follows a variable that you're interested in, so you can see, like, it becomes obvious, oh, I accidentally was subtracting one every time I punch instead of adding one. That's why my error happened. What you can do instead of having to do this whole like weird label thing, you can also always just, at any time, I'm just going to, outside of my if statements here, but still inside of my on mouse press, I'm going to print glove.hits. And what this will do, let me move this out of the way, is every time we punch here, it's going to print out in this console area the glove.hits, right? That's what print does, is it prints whatever is inside of the thing over there. This might have been discussed like way early on in CMU, but it's just like as our programs, and they are starting to get more complicated, it's a good idea to do what's called debug code, which is just every now and again, if something's not going right with your program, my guy's not uppercutting, what's happening? If something's not going right with your program, try printing out at different places different values for variables and checking it inside of your function here. I can even say, if I want to, if I'm checking multiple variables like glove hits, and then put a comma here to show I'm doing those two things. And that way you can have like debug code for multiple different things by just putting a print there. Our programs are getting more complicated, so you want to be able to have a way to check what's happening at different parts, right? And you can move around these print statements or add extra ones to say, all right, glove hits after this if statement, glove hits inside of this if statement, and you can kind of see what's going on step by step. Just a nice little hint or tip for what you can do. I realized, I was going negative, I'll switch this to a plus, and now as I run this program, uppercut, KO, and notice, it keeps saying 3 because the glove hit only increases when, it is less than 3. So that's why it stays at 3. Anyways, at the very least, the purpose of this video was to learn that we have custom properties that we can just add on to any object that we've stored inside of a variable. A nice little bonus tip was we saw debug code and how as our programs are getting more complex, you can print out the values of your properties of your objects, right? You don't even need to just do the custom properties. You could just say, I want to print out and maybe I'll do this in another line. I just want to print out at this moment the glove.center X, and it will print that out for you, right? It's going to print out glove hits and then the center X afterwards. Anyways, I'm just rambling at this point. Video is probably like 35 minutes. I'm probably like 15 minutes. Anyways, enjoy. I think I kept saying this entire video. I'm sorry. See you next time.